Hello, my name is Emma, and in today's video, I am going to teach you two important verbs and the grammar we need to use when we use these verbs. Okay, so what are the verbs we're going to learn today? The first verb is succeed in, to succeed in something. The second verb we're going to cover today is manage to. So we have succeed in and manage to. These verbs have very similar meanings, so we're going to look at them both together today. So, what do these verbs mean, or when do we use them? These verbs are used to describe when something is very difficult. So, a situation or an activity is very hard, it's very difficult, and we accomplish doing it. Okay, so these are verbs used to describe when we accomplish or do something difficult. So let me give you a real example of this. So this is true. I managed to walk 800 kilometers in 33 days. I walked across Spain. I managed to walk 800 kilometers in 33 days. So is that difficult? Is it difficult? I think it's difficult. It was difficult. And did I do it? Did I accomplish it? Did I complete those 800 kilometers? I did. So it's something difficult that I accomplished. So because it's something difficult and I accomplished it, I can use the verb manage to. Now notice I'm using ed at the end. This is because this is something that happened in the past. So this is the past tense of the verb manage to. In the past, I managed to walk 800 kilometers. So what's another way we can say this? Well, we can use another verb. I succeeded in walking 800 kilometers. I succeeded in walking 800 kilometers. So first of all, we have our verb here. It again means, did we do something difficult? Yes. Did we accomplish it? Yes. So we can use succeed in as well. Now we're using ed at the end because this is something I did in the past. So I have an ed ending. Now listen to my pronunciation of this word succeeded in. There's one part I say with stress. So that means I say it longer and louder. What part of the word succeed do I say louder and longer? So listen carefully. Succeeded, succeed. I say this part louder and longer. Okay, so when you pronounce this word, make sure that you pronounce the seed part loud and long. It's the same with managed. I managed to do something. Or sorry, it's not the same. In this case, I managed. Where's the stress? In this case, it's on the first part. Managed. I succeeded versus I managed. So when you focus on what part we say louder and longer, that can really help people understand you better. Okay, so we've looked at these two words and examples of what they mean. Now let's talk a little bit about the grammar. And after that, I will give you a whole bunch of other examples on how to use these words. So, preposition. What's a preposition? In English, the small words that we use like on, up, at, in, down, off, these are all examples of prepositions. These are the words that are really tricky because prepositions change depending on the verbs we're using. So when we're using manage and succeed, these verbs are followed by two different prepositions. I managed to walk 800 kilometers. Okay, so notice this verb is followed by the preposition to. What about succeed? I succeeded in. So we have two different prepositions. Succeed in are like a couple. They go together. Manage to, these two go together, okay? Now, we don't always need these prepositions. If we said, I managed, or I succeeded, that's okay. But we need these prepositions when there is a verb after these two. So in this case, what verb comes after managed to or succeeded in? We have the verb walk, okay? Or walking. I managed to walk. So we have the first verb, manage, and we have the second verb, walk. And in between, we have this preposition to. I managed to walk 800 kilometers. Now, nothing happens to this verb. It looks like the base form. With succeeded in, something changes. What happens to the second verb? We add ing. So notice it's not we succeeded in walk 800 kilometers. No, it's we succeeded in walking. Okay, so this is another difference in terms of the grammar of these two similar words. So we're going to go over many more examples to help you remember that manage is followed by to with just the base verb versus succeeded is followed by in with a verb and ing. Okay, so let's get started on looking at some of those examples. All right, so let's do some practice. I have here 4 examples for the words manage to and succeed in. Okay, so we have 4 examples here. Before we begin going over our examples, I just wanted to give a shout out to 3 of my club members from my English club, Fanye, Vicente, and Joseph. They are my club members, and I just wanted to say thank you for your support. So let's look at this example. Fanye managed get 100% on his English test. Fanye has been working very hard. So how can we fix this sentence? What do we need? So we have here manage. So we know we're talking about something that's difficult and that Fanye has accomplished. So what do we need after the word managed? Do we use the preposition in? Fanye managed in get? No? What do you think it is? So the answer is to. Fanye managed to get 100% on his English test. Do we need to do anything to this verb? No. So we leave that verb alone. And again, notice there are 2 verbs. Manage to is the first verb. Get is the second verb. Okay, and because we're using this verb managed, we don't need to do anything to our second verb get. All right, let's look at our second example. Vicente succeeded blank answering all of his emails. So if you're busy, you can understand that, and you work a lot, you probably get a lot of emails. When you get a lot of emails, it's very difficult to answer all of them. Okay, so this is a difficult thing, and it's also an accomplishment if you can answer all of your emails. So Vicente succeeded blank answering all of his emails. So we have our verb here, succeed, and because we're talking about the past, I've added an ed. What preposition do we need here after succeeded? Do we say Vicente succeeded to? No, that doesn't sound right. Do we say Vicente succeeded in? Yes. So we use the preposition in this case. And what do you notice about the verb here? So we have the verb, this is our second verb, answer. Notice that we had to change the verb a little bit. We needed to add something at the end. Because we're using succeeded in, the verb after needs ing. Okay, so let's highlight that. Okay, So now let's look at our third example. Joseph managed blank blank, and we have here a verb I want you to use, 100 bitcoins. This is, by the way, a made-up example. I don't know if Joseph actually bought 100 bitcoins, but if he did, it's something very difficult to do, to buy 100 bitcoins. So it's challenging, it's difficult. So in this example, Joseph managed. What do we need after managed? We need the preposition to. Joseph managed to. And here we have our verb. Do we need to add ing to our verb? No, we don't, because we have the first verb managed. So we just write buy. Joseph managed to buy 100 bitcoins. All right, now let's look at the last example. The last example is a cute example. It's about my 90-year-old grandmother. My grandma succeeded blank blank learn to use a computer. So for many people, learning to use a computer is very hard. Okay, so we have something difficult. So we can use the word succeeded in or managed to. Whoops, I think I just gave an answer there. So we have my grandma succeeded. What comes after succeed? We use the preposition in. My grandmother succeeded in, and now we have our verb learn. Do we have to do anything with our verb learn? We do. We need to add ing because our first verb is succeeded. So our second verb ends in ing. So my grandma succeeded in learning to use a computer. All right. So what I'd like you to do now for more practice is I would like in the comments to write something that you managed to do or something that you succeeded in. I think it will be really interesting if we all talk about some of our accomplishments. We talk about something difficult that we did, and we try to use these verbs. You can also get more practice by checking out www.engvid.com. There you will actually find a quiz on everything you learned here. You can also subscribe to my channel. I make a lot of different videos on different topics. Just don't forget to ring the bell. If you ring the bell, you will see all the new videos coming out of mine. You can also check out my website at www.teacheremma.com. I have an English club there that my friends Fanye, Vicente, and Joseph are a part of. And it's an excellent way to get more practice with your English. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.